Hi there. I just wanted to share something that I've been seeing over the last few weeks. Why are so many founder-led or CEO-led construction, engineering, and fits-out firms plateauing? You know what I'm seeing more and more lately? Some of the best businesses I speak to, good firms, solid reputations, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million pound turnover companies. And the founder, the MD or the CEO, is still carrying a huge amount of responsibility for new business personally. They're still doing things like networking, follow-ups, relationship building, pipeline chasing, outreach, and prospecting. And I completely understand why. Years and years before, many of these businesses grew up through referrals, repeat business, and relationships. They kind of took it for granted that business was always there. When the market is strong, that model does work, and it works brilliantly. But especially in construction and project-based industries right now, something has really shifted. What I'm seeing a lot of is good firms quietly plateauing, not because they're bad businesses, completely the opposite. They're excellent at delivery, excellent technically, trusted in their market, but the pipeline has become more reactive. So when things tighten in the market, when projects slow down, when competition increases, the responsibility for pipeline naturally ends up sitting with the founder. So now the MD becomes the sales function. They're trying to run the company, lead the team, deliver projects, manage operations, also trying to maintain pipeline manually in the background. And the strange thing is, these are highly capable people, but they end up slowly spending huge amounts of time doing work that isn't actually the highest value use of their time anymore. I had conversations recently with several founder-led firms, and when we actually broke down the real commercial cost of their senior leadership carrying all the outreach internally, the numbers were eye-opening, not just financially, but operationally, strategically, and mentally. Because while senior people are spending hours trying to generate pipeline manually, they're not spending that time on strengthening the business, building partnerships, improving operations, leading people, or positioning the company properly for growth. And deep down, most founders already know this. Even the strong referral-led firms are finding they need more control over their pipeline. They need to know that there's earlier stage conversations to be had. They know they need more consistency commercially. The problem is, where's the alternative? Do you try building an internal business development function from scratch? Because realistically, that often means recruitment, salaries, training, management, data, systems, outreach infrastructure, pipeline processes, copy, follow-up, and hoping you eventually build a commercially strong team around that. And for many founder-led firms, that becomes expensive very quickly. What they actually need isn't just a salesperson. They need strategy, positioning, research, outreach, relationship building, commercial conversations, meeting generation, follow-up, and consistent pipeline movement. And that's really the world I've operated in for the last 30 years, working alongside founders, CEOs, MDs, helping businesses build commercial relationships, opening conversations, and creating opportunities through direct engagement with decision makers. That's really why I built Lead Searchers, to act as an external commercial growth function for founder-led firms that don't want the cost, complexity, and risk of trying to build all of that internally. In simple terms, my system takes the place of the commercial infrastructure many firms feel they should probably build themselves internally, without the overhead, without needing a full internal department, without hiring multiple people, and without the founder carrying all of it personally in the background. And to be clear, this isn't theoretical. One of our current construction clients landed a £500,000 project opportunity within the first month of working together. They also generated £1 million worth of pipeline opportunities in roughly 180 days. Now, obviously, every business is different, but the wider point is this. When good firms consistently get into the right conversations earlier, commercial momentum can change very, very quickly because they're no longer arriving late when everything has gone out to tender. They're building relationships early in the buying cycle where trust, positioning, and influence still matter. And honestly, one of the biggest benefits often isn't just the work itself, it's the release of pressure internally. Senior people get their time back. The business becomes less dependent on reactive opportunities. Instead of constantly chasing work late in the process, the company starts creating a more stable commercial pipeline around the types of relationships they actually need and want. The other thing I believe strongly is this: a good commercial engagement should create value long after the engagement itself ends. Because if it's done properly, the positioning, relationships, systems, commercial direction, and strategic thinking continue helping the business long afterwards as well. And I genuinely think the firms that thrive over the next few years won't necessarily be the firms shouting the loudest. They'll be the firms getting involved earlier, building strong relationships, and using senior leadership in the highest valuable place possible. And just to say, I'm very selective about who I work with. Lead Searchers is still a founder-led business, so capacity is intentionally limited because I stay closely involved in the strategy and messaging personally. At the moment, I probably have room for 1 or 2 firms that genuinely fit the way we work. Not every company does. This tends to work best for founder-led, project-based firms that understand the value of relationships, timing, and getting involved earlier in the buying cycle, rather than relying purely on reactive tendering. So if this resonates, or you recognize some of these challenges inside your own business, there's a link below where you can book a short, 15-minute conversation with me personally. No hard sell. The purpose is simply to understand where your pipeline comes from, where the pressure points are, and whether we would genuinely help. If this is a fit, I'll briefly show you how we helped other firms create early-stage conversations and stronger commercial positioning.